All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ACIM Talks tonight. It's Monday, August 19th, 2024. And I thank you all for being here. We were kind of talking as we usually do before we get started. And we have to kind of watch ourselves because we'll get off running our mouths and forget to start the show. So, at any rate, I think you'll be pleased tonight because we are back into our book study of Unity and A Course in Miracles. And it's 2 weeks since we've been in this book. Tonight we're on page 33, and we're on the section God is Mine, and we're listening to. First we did what A Course in Miracles said about God is mind or idea, and then we're going to read tonight about unity. But I thought it might help if we take a little journey together. So I want you to see what we're covering overall in this chapter, okay? So if you'll turn with me to page 27, that's where chapter 3, the Holy Trinity, begins, right? Mm-hmm. And there's an introduction. And then it's going to break out and start talking about the three persons or entities, if you will, that make up the Holy Trinity. On page 29, first there's the introduction. And then on page 29 starts a discussion of God. And God is the longest discussion here. It has I just numbered them or lettered them. Like God, in general, what does A Course in Miracles say and what does Unity say? And then it talks about terms used to refer to God on page 30. And then those terms are to refer to God. God is spirit. Do you see that on page 30? Mm-hmm. And then on page 33, God is mind or idea. Well, I should say God. Yeah, it really starts on 32. Am I confusing you?
No.
God is mind, idea. Okay, on 32. And then on 34, God is creator. 35, God is love. 36, God is cause or first cause. 37, God is Father. 37, God is principle. And that's the last in the discussion of God. And then we'll start talking about the sonship of God. I'm sorry, the Son of God, the sonship, and Christ. Relatively short section because the Holy Spirit starts on page 41. And that there's a summary at the end, and we'll be done with chapter 3. So you see, there's a lot more to go, but you may find it helpful to kind of keep in mind what it is they're doing. They're talking about the three persons that form the Holy Trinity and essentially excerpts of what A Course in Miracles says about this and what Unity says as a comparison. Is that a helpful or maybe more confusing than helpful? I don't know. You just start reading. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
We're on page 33.
Yes.
And I have Sherilyn White as first reader, then Joan, Kathleen, Judy, and Ron. And I'll be sixth. Maybe I can read tonight.
Okay, do you want me to read?
Well, Sherilyn's, oops, Debbie, I'm sorry. I didn't write you on my list for some reason. I always tell people I'm old, so I'll use that excuse. No, Debbie, I want you to be reader 6, okay?
After
After
Ron.
Ron.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay,
Get you to it. But so I don't have to rewrite it. Let's start with Sherilyn then.
sure.
Page
Okay.
30.
Okay.
What
Heaven.
Unity says about God is mine, right?
Heaven, kingdom. Heaven is the state where God and his creations come together.
Where
It is a
are you
place.
reading?
Where are you? We're on page 33.
33.
Yeah, at the top.
Yeah.
You're on page 33.
Yes.
Are you in
Yes.
Unity and
Are you in this book?
Course?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm even in the 33.
Let me see your book. Well, go ahead.
Well, what I was reading from the glossary. Oh, I'm sorry. No wonder.
Now you got, that's
No.
it.
All
You're
right.
all set.
I got it. I thought this doesn't look like anything I've seen before. Okay.
You got too many books over there.
Yeah. All right. Unity. God is mind. There is but one mind, and that the mind of God. Divine mind, God mind, ever present, all knowing mind, the absolute, the unlimited, omnipresent, all wise, all loving, all powerful spirit. There is but one mind, and that mind cannot be separated or divided because, like the principle of mathematics, it is indivisible. All that we can say of the one mind is that it is absolute and that all its manifestations are in essence like itself. God mind embraces all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and is the source of every manifestation of true knowledge and intelligence. The creations of the one mind are ideas. The ideas of God are potential forces waiting to be set in motion through proper formative vehicles or thoughts. The thinking faculty in man is such a vehicle, and it is through this that the visible universe has existence. The law of manifestation for man is the law of thought. God ideates, man thinks. One is the completion of the other in mind.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't let you finish. But I do want to make sure we pause and reflect on what we read.
Yes.
So that's where I am. I mean, what does that mean? First of all, what did Unity say?
There's but one mind, and that's the mind of God. And we may have some other
how does
names to
God
refer.
get stuff done?
Let's see. Well, the creations of one mind are ideas. The ideas of God are potential forces waiting to be set in motion through proper formative vehicles or thoughts. The thinking faculty in man is such a vehicle, and it is through this that the visible universe has existence.
And then he says the law of manifestation for man,
For
do you all
man.
see where I'm reading? Is
Yeah.
the law of thought. God ideates, man thinks.
Thanks.
One is the completion of the other in mind. Let's talk about that. God
What do you think that
ideates.
means?
What were you saying, Joe?
What do you think that means? I don't.
I asked you first.
Nice try, Joan.
All right. All right. All right, Kathleen, come on.
Well, the mind, which is God, creates the idea, and we receive the idea, and then we express the idea.
We give it form. We give it.
Right, right.
Okay. So the idea is latent. It's pure potential.
Right.
It's there to be made active in whatever form you want.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a beautiful flower, a beautiful building, a beautiful freeway. So you see, it doesn't matter what form, but the idea is all it should have to work with. The ideation of beauty can be implemented many ways. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But there is no idea of ugly. Because as they said, it said that everything from this is like, it's in paragraph 3. All that we can say of the one mind is that it is absolute and that all its manifestations are in essence like itself.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. God created me, love created me like itself. Does that ring a bell?
Yes. Yes.
So the thing about God's ideation is that they're always beautiful, loving, happy, joyful, peaceful. So if we're making an expression of God's ideation, what else could it be but a beautiful painting? Or would it be something harmful and hateful?
No.
Would you
No.
be inspired to make a nasty, accident-prone freeway?
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. So that goes to what I was thinking, which maybe doesn't have to be said, but I'm thinking, so when I recognize my connection with spirit or God, then this is true.
Correct. And if you're getting something that doesn't emanate from love, happiness, joy, etc., where'd you get it? Where'd you get the idea?
The ego probably.
Ego.
And so you would have had to have made it up because its essence isn't the same as the ideation.
Mhm.
It can't be true because it's false.
It's an illusion. Yeah.
Like the idea of separation, that is not like the ideation maker, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we gave activity to something unreal. We can make it, but it won't be real because there's one absolute and its essence is what?
Loving.
Did you say something that starts with a L?
Yeah, I said loving.
That's what I'm getting out of this. There's one absolute that cannot be divided. So it's one idea, one ideation that can take and be expressed in many ways. And vehicles like us are able to think it and act on it. We're able to take that power and extend it and put it into various useful forms in our lives. But you can't make up a power. How can it be real if this real is indivisible? And everything it produces has the same essence as it has. I think that's the pitch that's being made here, or maybe Reverend Jim's turn it into a discussion.
Well, it would just be our perception that changes the thought, the ideation, the manifestation. We're perceiving that there is something real that is not real with capital R.
If it's not loving, that's a sure sign it can't be real from what they've said. Are you reading it that way or no?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so now we'll ask Joan. What do you think?
Well, that makes
Trying to
it
get
more
out of it.
understandable.
Pardon me?
That makes it more understandable. Mhm.
Okay. Everybody?
And I
Oh.
think
Okay.
Yeah.
if you go back to the second paragraph where it says divine mind, God mind, ever present, all knowing mind, the absolute, the unlimited, the omnipresent, all wise, all loving, and all powerful spirit, that is the description of what we see.
Sure.
That's what we're if that's what if God is mind and divine mind is, then that's if we see anything other than that, then we're it's coming from our perception, our ego perception, our earth plane perception, not from a God consciousness.
I
Mhm.
would agree.
Mhm.
I was just thinking about chapter 17 in the course, and I don't know. Do you remember section 2? It's on page 352 if you have your book, Sandy. It's called The Forgiven World. And Jesus says, can you imagine how beautiful those you forgive will look to you? In no fantasy have you ever seen anything so lovely. Nothing that you see here, sleeping or waking, comes near to such loveliness. And nothing will you value like unto this, nor hold so dear. Man, that would be a big change from how most of us see this world.
And I just went back and looked up uh you know in unity. So if we are not in our divine mind, then we are missing the mark. We are falling the shore of divine mind.
We're forgetting to say, based on what we're forgetting to remember to say is this can't be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why? Because this absolute is absolute. It's all there is that's real. You can't make anything else because it's omnipresent. Who in their right mind would try and make something else? It's impossible. You can only produce hallucinations, and your hallucinations will hurt you. You're hurting yourself when you don't understand something very simple. This mind is all there is, and its nature is all that can be. Does that make sense from what Unity's saying?
Yes.
Isn't that what A Course in Miracles says in
Yep.
different words?
Mhm.
Yep.
So if we're on stable footing, let's continue, okay? Joan, we're at the last paragraph on 33.
Okay. Okay. The previous quotes provide a clear delineation of Unity's teaching on mind, idea, expression. The first sentence talks about the one mind and ideas. Next, the ideas are waiting to be set in motion by thoughts. Thoughts are of the relative realm, as are the effects of thoughts upon ideas. Expression is clearly of the relative realm and not the absolute realm of divine mind idea.
So what is the relative realm? Isn't that what you were wondering too?
Mhm. The relative absolute has to do with God, mind, what's true. Relative has to do with the world and all the illusion.
No. I would say that the relative allows it to take different forms. The difference is in the form, and that is all.
Mm-hmm.
Forms are not absolute in the way that the one mind is. but the forms must be some relationship to the absolute. What are your comments about relative? What was it? Relative mind?
Relative realm.
Realm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the thoughts of the relative realm,
Realm.
I would say are functioning in level 2.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
I would agree.
Mm.
It's like
Oh, yeah.
the theory, and then it can have various applications in the relative realm,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Mhm.
must all come from one ideation. That's all there is.
So if you were
Where
going
are you
to
going to work from? Go ahead.
if you were going to carry that one step further, when you look at all the different types of spirituality and all the different types of certain religions, that's expressing that's expressing God mind in various different ways, but you all come to the same conclusion that there is one source, and that source is all loving.
Yes.
Mhm.
And another comment, Debbie.
Okay. I don't even know if this is important, but this occurred to me probably because I heard something on the news today about AI
Mhm.
and about how I know Facebook was on there, but there's a couple forums now where they're putting very few limitations on AI, and reading this, and I'm thinking, that's like the ego on steroids, like it's I mean, we've gone into not only can you push a button and create it, you can make it seem real,
Well,
but it's only going to seem real because it's not going to be real.
well, is it really about limitations? Because, all right, have you heard that?
Well, no, they're just saying what they'll actually put on there. Like Facebook, they won't put everything up.
It
But
depends on who's running Facebook.
exactly.
It depends on who's running that media source.
Mm.
You can put all the limitations you want on it, but by the same token, if they're devoted to doing something criminal, they'll still find ways to, oh, okay, so we're working through laws and stuff uh, on the effects,
Okay.
causes, who's running these things, and what the heck are they thinking? That's the bottom line.
Which is probably not the same thing we're thinking.
Now, don't get me wrong, in the relative level 2 world, we got laws, right?
Uh,
Laws can't ultimately alter the creative mind in the wrong direction. They try and figure out ways to circumvent the laws.
mm,
So it's still a tough go, even with laws. The only direct, safe solution is to change the thinking of the people that, what is it for? The course.
mm.
Is money good or bad?
It's neutral.
Awaiting an application.
And yeah.
Is AI good or bad?
Well, again, it's neutral. It just like I said, it just happened to me. I heard that and I was like, it's almost like going down a rabbit hole, which you could,
Yeah,
come.
yeah. So I
you know,
can't
make
really
with it.
talk legislation and stuff, in
Yeah.
the relative realm that we live in. But it's not going to really solve that, is it? If they've got a mindset
No.
to be an ego and all out for themselves apart from being out for the good of everyone.
It just keeps the chaos going. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. Which I don't even, sorry, I don't even know why I brought it up. I don't, but it
I'm
somehow
glad.
it connected to me. Like, you know, you start pushing buttons and you just got.
Where do your thoughts come from? You say you don't know why
Ego.
you thought it up. You were
Well, like I
supposed
said,
to
when they're
bring it up.
connected with spirit, they come from God.
And it really helps our discussion to get different honest views for us to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't a lot of places where we want you to feel free to be yourself. So I think it's fine. Okay.
Okay.
I
All right. I
welcome it.
mean, it's just
Don't
one
think
of
that's
Debbie's
something.
crazy thoughts.
Yeah,
Okay.
we want you to be spontaneous,
Yeah.
because we can see spirit working for the group to help each other and stuff like that. Any other comments? Where you at, Judy? What are your
I
thoughts
would,
on
well,
everything?
I was following what Debbie was saying. I really thought that she was just expressing how far the various applications can come in our world. And this whole idea of AI is almost like humans wanting to be the creator.
Yeah,
And so they'll create anything that they want to create, whether it's true or false, because it really is ego driven.
well, I agree. I mean, for humans to want to create is not unusual. We are creators. That's all we do 24/7. Reminds me of a section from my book. Our power is always on. We create or make. Y'all following me
Right.
from the course?
Right. We make.
All the time. You can't turn it off. You're always, every thought you have creates something at some level, but it won't be manifested until it gains enough power and energy to come within our perceptions. So when you plant the seed in the ground, you know that thing is growing every day. It's just that your apparatus for seeing can't see it yet. But it's doing stuff, isn't it? But on a level we're not able to discern. But to get back to what Judy was saying, we're creating all the time. The only choice we have is, what do we want to create? And what is it based on? How am I doing?
Good.
Is
Is
it
it,
based on truth or is it based on fear?
and if truth is that love is all there is, love is the ideation, is the essence. Everything that God creates has a nature like its creator. Isn't that what it said?
Mhm.
Yes.
So we're creators, but who told us we could create something that's not like our creator?
The ego.
Tiny
When we
man.
took on,
Yes.
when we took on separation, we believed that we were separate. We could do what we wanted to do.
The one idea that can't possibly be true because this mind is absolute. It is the only reality. It cannot be subdivided, and it cannot be attacked. If people understood this, they go, that's silly. But they don't understand. And the reason that many of them don't understand is because deep down they don't want to. How many know what I mean about they don't really want to?
I
Comment?
do.
Okay. You know anybody that doesn't seem to want to get into it yet? They'd rather try their popular solutions to their problems.
That's almost everybody.
Yeah, we're a small group. Our eyes are being opened. Can you imagine how beautiful everyone and everything will look to you when you forgive these teachings of madness that we've been taught? It makes no sense, does it?
No, it doesn't make sense. But if we're coming from the ego, it makes a lot of sense.
Of course.
I'm having a difficult time with the concept of making versus the concept of creating.
Certainly.
I always thought that God did the creating, and we, with our ego minds, we can make things but not create them.
Ah, good question. Anybody want to address that besides me?
Well, I wrote down some notes on the bottom of page 32 that making stems from a belief in need,
Yes.
that
That's
there is a lack
Reverend
that we have to
Jim's.
overcome.
You
And
make,
the creator is just in a field of total oneness, which is total abundance. So
yes.
the creation comes from the abundance.
So creation comes from sharing. You're so full of this, you can't help but share it in relative ways within the relative realm. You're so, it's like in the Bible, it says, my cup will be full and overflowing. And I'll just, oh, I can't get enough of creating beautiful, wonderful things like my creator. I'll do it in the relative realm. I love that stuff. But we're taught to do things out of a need. I don't have this, I don't have that. I have to figure out how to do this, and I have to figure out, I have to survive, right? Do you see
But
the,
Reverend Jim, there are moments when people do create out of this overflowing love and abundance.
of course,
They create music, they create books, they create
yes,
paintings, they create children.
yes. And so that, you're absolutely right. Some of us genuinely create, which is our purpose, to be an expression of the creator in the relative realm. Isn't that what it said? But it didn't say to be an expression of something else. What else is there to be an expression of? I'm asking. Are you connecting the dots?
Very well.
Do you have a choice about what to create?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
The only thing I can
Yeah.
create is what has the same essence
As me.
as the creator. It's
Yeah.
one line. Because that's all there is.
Yeah.
What else can you create but good? Well, if someone don't like me, I'll go and do something bad, maybe.
But that's an illusion. That's the ego.
You can't
That's from
do anything
fear.
bad.
Yeah.
That's why it's all powerful. It's absolute. Ron, how we doing? Between make and create. When you make, it's out of a perceived need, but you have no needs. Consider the lilies of the field. They do not work nor toil, do they?
Mm.
Or consider the jobs of the, here we go. Is it the Munchkins or some group in the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
Okay, their jobs are not like our jobs.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Here's their typical day goes. We get up at 12 and start to work at 1, take an hour for lunch, and then at 2 we're done. Jolly good fun. Da 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 da. In the merry old land of Oz. Fantasy? I think not. This world is the fantasy. Comments there.
It's not 100% clear to me, but it doesn't have to be. It's a bit confusing, but that's okay.
And once you consider it, if you have more questions, this is always a good forum where we can kind of stretch out and try and have everybody with a good understanding. Where do the rest of you stand on this matter of creating versus making?
I think I understand it. I have to think about it some more.
Mhm.
This power is freely given, and you can use it of your own free will to create. And the only way you can create is stuff that's already been ideated. Yes?
Mhm.
Why? Because there is nothing else.
Mhm.
Or you can attempt to make up something. And that is make. As
Make
opposed,
an example would be we make the illusions. We don't create the illusions.
right,
We make
right,
them.
right. And the course makes a distinction. Thank you, Kathleen. All right, you all got that thoughtful, pensive look. Shall we move on?
Okay, I don't know if this is a good example or not, but this occurred to me. I
Yeah.
create a mode of transportation. I make a luxury car.
I hear you.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, we can pick with that, right?
You can, yeah.
What was the motivation for creating the mode of transportation?
Hmm.
Isn't
I'm
that
gonna
coming
go
out of the
real deep
need?
on you. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, that probably is coming out of a need. Sorry, maybe that wasn't it. But I was just thinking of, yeah. But
Just
it doesn't,
asking.
but doesn't plant, a lot of things, like we might plant crops for food.
Yes.
Isn't that creating? And doesn't that fill a need?
Yeah, but in a limited sense, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I'll go on with that, but Ron, you had a comment as well.
No, I'm okay.
We're just playing semantics here, aren't we?
So
Yeah.
we're going to create a transportation system, right? To
And
help.
what I said is we create it out of a need.
And
And Debbie said that when we make something, we make it out of need, or somebody said that.
Yeah.
When we make things, it's out of a need.
so why would we create or make a transportation system? What is the motivation for that?
Maybe to be a
Ah,
good communication device. We might need to do it further than our own front door. We
well,
might
we
need
need to get around, right?
yeah.
So I'm saying in one way, it's a good thing, but let me go real deep about where we're going to end up with this ultimately. Where would you need to go if you're everywhere?
Nowhere.
Where?
Okay, bodies have to have
Yeah.
bodies which are local, need local transportation means that fit into a local environment. But our ideation is not local. Bodies and the things they do have a linear pattern, step-by-step aspect. But the truth is, we're not a body. It is being a body that is the limiting feature. But we're spirits, right? What's our, yes?
Yes.
Spirits having a human experience. Where do spirits live?
Everywhere.
Mhm.
So do you see why ultimately you don't have to plan a transit system? Ultimately? But in the
Correct.
realm, at least you're in the right direction of trying to help people. Is that like creating a war machine?
No.
No.
No, that's
That's
not
more
helping.
clearly because it doesn't have the ideation's nature, the ideation's essence. So you see, it's totally off the rails when it's not loving. But technically, the transit system and the war machine are being made out of a unnecessary need, but most definitely a very realistic need when you think and live your life as a body. I get that. Our Creator gets that. The Holy Spirit gets that. You got to get around in order to spread Spirit's word down here, right? What would happen if you tried communicating with people as a disembodied spirit? Could you get your message through while they're running the hell out of there?
Ah,
Fearful species, okay? We have to be careful how we approach them. Well, I'm messing up as usual. Look at lesson 155, and I'm going to show you how we have to go incognito. Lesson 155, I don't know the page, but it says, I will step back and let him lead the way. Anybody there yet?
Oh, you are good. I will step back and let him lead the way. Him with a capital H.
One of my favorites. So why don't you read that first paragraph, a few sentences, Judy?
There is a way of living in the world that is not here, although it seems to be. You do not change appearance, though you smile more frequently. Your forehead is serene. Your eyes are quiet. And the ones who walk the world as you do recognize their own. Yet those who have not yet perceived the way will recognize you also and believe that you are like them as you were before.
Read the last sentence again, please.
Yet those who have not yet perceived the way will recognize you also and believe that you are like them as you were before. So we're not scaring anybody.
Right. The same bodies that we used to think was us, we're not going to destroy them. Love don't work that way. It'll just use it for a different purpose. This is my work outfit. This is what I wear down here in level 2 while I carry out my mission. It's a costume. I can get in there now because people think, oh, that's just Jim, let him in. That's just Judy, let him in. They have no idea who they're letting in their house.
I think the interesting sentence has to do with how we will recognize each other.
That's the
smile more
second one.
frequently. The
Go ahead.
forehead is serene. The eyes are quiet. And the ones who walk the world as you do recognize their own.
So we,
Because we are seeing the spirit within each other.
yes. Okay, so groups like ours whose eyes are open or are being open, we see our own, and that's great. But we also become very functional with what I used to think I was. Holy Spirit's made me into a communication device. And it has a covering that looks like everybody here. So they won't run away. You know how scared these people are? Come on. So we have to be smooth, sophisticated. And we have to both be human
and divine.
Divine. All right. So I pay my bills, I go to work, I do stuff, and all of that. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, but damn it, I'm not from Rome. I just work here, folks. This is not about Jim. You just work here. Comments? I don't know how to take the speechlessness.
So since we are not a body, we don't need transportation because we don't need to go anywhere. We're everywhere.
Have you mastered that yet?
No.
Are you kidding?
You see, Jesus says in the course, I forget where, but abilities are great. But abilities only have potential. Ability is not mastery. Ability is not the achievement. Abilities can only be a means to an end ultimately, but don't play abilities cheap either. They're very powerful tools toward a goal. What's your goal? Well, of course, one of the lessons says God is the only goal I have today. Anybody read that one? Look it up in the index. Table of contents, right? It's a deep book, isn't it?
Yes.
And I just love being able to reference it because so many things I say or we do in my everyday life reminds me of something Jesus said in Course in Miracles. I wouldn't call this tremendous progress here tonight, would you? We didn't even finish the last paragraph on page 34, did we?
No,
No, we didn't.
All right. Do me a favor, Kathleen. Just read that to us, and we'll close for tonight and be in a good place for next time.
Yep.
If we get,
page 34.
yes, right at the top.
Yep. If we get the key to man's real being, which is the activity of mind, we will immediately discern that we have within us those three activities of mind: the Father mind, the Son mind, and the Holy Spirit mind. In other words, the mind, the idea, and the manifestation of the idea. These three come in every one of us. We have within us, every one of us, the key that unlocks the understanding of God, and the key to know ourselves, and the key for the whole.
Ourselves, excuse me.
Pardon?
And that key is to know ourselves.
Okay. And the key for the Holy Spirit is in the activity of the executive power, the power of the will of man's mind. You know, we base our thinking upon mind, and then the idea in mind, and then the manifestation or expression of the idea. In other words, the power of thought.
That's a deep summary. Did it go over anybody's head or anything? All right, just if you get it to review, mind, idea, and manifestation. Okay. So there is a mind that has an idea or an ideation that we can turn into expression through the power of our thoughts. That is the only thing that will work. Because this essence is all we have to work with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Been lovely talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Been lovely listening to you.
Well, it's been lovely the feeling's mutual. And
Thank you, Jim. This was good.
Yeah. I appreciate the sharing. And again, I'm just, hey, taking my time. I think it's 157 pages. So we're on page 34.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be here 2 weeks from now.
Mhm.
Next week, we're back in the course. I
Okay.
found the best way to do these is to devote one session to one and just all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 2
Yeah.
weeks from now might be Labor Day, so.
oh, already?
Your days on a Monday. Do y'all
Yep.
wanna take off if it's on Monday? Or you wanna try it? I don't have any.
I don't have any preference, so.
Okay, I mean, do whatever, I just thought I would mention, I think 2
Yeah.
weeks from today is probably
Yeah.
Labor Day.
Anyhow, we'll plan on being here on Labor Day, and if somebody
Okay.
has an issue, we can talk about it later. So
Okay.
I'll let you guys get out of here. Any final comments, questions?
Nope, just thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you, Jim.
thank you.
enough said, okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Have a blessed week,
About it.
everybody.
Namaste.
You too, everyone.
Bye.
Talk
Bye.
to you later,
I can
guys.
eat
Bye-bye.
that.
Good night.